I was fiending for weed, like bad. But I haven't fiended for weed this bad since I last quit. Well, boys, it's about 6:30 p.m. and I'm about to get ready for bed. About to have my last meal, just finished up with my clients. Absolutely fucking crushed the day, dude. Absolutely crushed the day. Another day with nothing left in the fucking tank. Feels amazing. But I just moved into my new apartment recently. It's been about 2 weeks now. And during this move-in process, I kind of fell into a little slump. Me falling off track now, being locked in for so long, looks a lot different than it used to. I still hit my macros. I still go to the gym. I still do my cold shower, do my morning push-ups. I still, do my morning routine and get the non-negotiables done. But where I start to slack is the social media. I start posting less YouTube videos, start posting less stories, start posting less short form content. And that's like what I mean by falling off. So just during the move-in process, just being stressed, moving all the shit I own from one place to another place. It's not an easy thing to do. And, I was doing it by myself because my brothers were working, my dad was working, everyone was busy. So it was just me. Luckily my mom helped and her boyfriend helped, but it wasn't a fun process. And it feels good to finally be settled and, almost settled. But the reason I'm talking about this is I was fiending for weed, like bad. But I haven't fiended for weed this bad since I last quit. And I quit last August, not this past August, but the August before. So it's been well over a year. But for some reason, just me not being on my posting as much, me having a bunch of just clutter everywhere, like just everything being kind of noisy, and me not being on my system that I am on every single day, it kind of just, it was making me fiend very bad. And it made me think about, what would happen if I actually gave into that? What would happen if after a year and a half, almost, of me being done with smoking, I gave in to that voice? I fucking gave into that bitch voice and took a hit. I went up and bought a cart, what would that actually look like? And I really reflected on it. I thought about, because the first 2.5 years of my lifting journey, I was smoking every day, multiple times a day. I mean, 10, 20 times a day. It would always be a dab pen. So once I graduated to the dab pens, I was no longer, using the bong. I wasn't have to worry about smelling, no joints, none of that shit. Literally just the dab pen. I would hit that shit every fucking 30 minutes. Every 30 minutes, dude. As soon as I woke up, I'd roll over, grab my pen out of my drawer, hit it. Get out of bed after scrolling for like an hour, hit it again. Get ready for school, get in the car, go to school, hit it before I walk in. Go to the bathroom during first period, hit it at lunch. Like every single day, dude. It was just multiple times every hour. It was horrible. I literally just lived baked. And if you've been watching my videos for any time and this topic has come up, you know that I was a very high achiever. Even though I smoked every single day, from like the time I was 12 years old until 22 years old, I smoked every single day. 23 years old, fucking crazy. Every single day. And I would do all that I needed to do. I would participate in clubs. I was the vice president of my school. I played sports. I got all A's. I had a 4.5 GPA in high school, which is fucking crazy. But I smoked weed every day. I would give parent tours to new students' parents while being baked. Like I would do so much shit that I should not have been doing baked. I test drove my first car baked. Like who does that, dude? It was such a problem. But as I was thinking about it, I was thinking about how was I able to still smoke multiple times a day, but get straight A's, but show up for myself in the gym, hit my macros, do all the shit that I thought I needed to do. I thought I was going above and beyond, even though I wasn't. I was just scratching the surface. But the further you get on this self-development journey, the more you realize that there's a lot of shit that you could be doing better. A lot of shit. And there's a lot of things that are holding you back from doing those things better. And weed is definitely one of the biggest things. And, I was thinking about it and I was like, in my day-to-day routine, if I were to try to smoke, the only time that it would make some sense would be right before bed. but then fucks your sleep. You don't get the same quality sleep if you smoke before you go to sleep. It's simple. While you were sleeping, all these theta waves are going on. Your brain is literally digesting everything that went on during that day. All of the moments and studying and all the things that you've done in that day, your brain is going through them and putting them into your memory. If you get baked before you go to bed, that whole day was a wash, bro. If you studied for hours of the day, that day was a wash. Literally a fucking wash. Like, you're not gonna digest any of the information. It's not gonna stick with you. So already there, that would be horrible. Before bed, no. Anytime during my day, I would not want to feel the cloud, the sheet of just fogginess over me. Weed makes you so okay with just being okay. It makes you so there's no problem in the world with sitting on your ass on your bed all day, scrolling reels, eating shitty food, playing Xbox. Like, there's no issue reading a comment section for 20 minutes. Bro, like, I've done that shit so many times being baked. Like, it's embarrassing, honestly. There's so much time that is wasted. And time is the most valuable asset. Money is not the most valuable asset. It is time. Time is the only thing you cannot get back. So it just amazes me that I spent 11 years of my fucking life just numb. And with the amount of potential that I have, I can't even fucking imagine where I would be. And you're probably in the same boat, bro. You probably have so much more potential than you think you have. And the weed is holding you back, bro. You keep telling yourself, oh no, I'm not addicted to it. It just helps me relax. It helps me stay chill. It like turns off my brain before I go to bed. It's a nice little escape. It's my cocktail before I go to sleep. It's my, weekend fun. But it just can't be that. It can't be that, dude, because I promise you, the people who don't think that it's a problem, that's when it's a problem. That is when it's a problem, dude. Like, you cannot have told me a few years ago that smoking weed was bad. I would argue the living shit out of it. I was like a fucking pro-weed activist. That was one of my favorite arguments. And now, there isn't a bone in my body that would say it's good, dude. There really isn't, because it just holds you back from your full potential. All the things that you need to do in a day, if you hit that cart, you're not gonna do half of them. You may not even do any of them, dude. And it's a horrible experience, because the longer that you just go drowning out the emotions or the things that you need to be doing that you don't want to do, so you smoke instead, the longer that you keep doing that, you keep getting that cheap dopamine, the harder it's gonna be to stop. Take it from me, bro. After 11 years, I keep saying 12, 11 years of smoking every day, quitting was a pain in the ass. It was one of the worst experiences I have ever went through. I'm not saying that lightly. I made this stupid decision to decide to quit while I was going to meet my girlfriend's parents for the first time. So we went up to, I won't say where, but we went up to where she lives. And I decided to quit because I wasn't gonna bring anything on the plane. It just seemed like a good time. There weren't a lot of triggers that were there, the environmental triggers that would be at home that would make me want to smoke. So I thought it'd be a good idea, but it wasn't, dude. It wasn't. Couldn't eat anything for like a full week, couldn't sleep at all. I would just be sweating profusely the entire day. I was miserable, absolutely miserable. Went to a wedding, horrible to be on your second day of weed withdrawals at a wedding with your girlfriend's family, entire family that you've never met. Horrible experience, but I'm glad that it's over. And that is something that I can kind of look back at every time that I want to smoke again. And I'm like, nah, dude, I'm not going through that again. It's just not worth it. But the main thing is really just, it's like a mask. It's like a cape, literally just pretend you have a blanket that you can kind of see through, and you just put it over you. That is how you're walking around, how you're going about your life if you were getting high every day, or even multiple times a week, even every week, dude. I'm speaking more to the daily users because that's what I was, so it's easier for me to relate to y'all, but bro, any of it is just not good. You don't need it. It's holding you back. It is keeping you comfortable. Comfort fucking kills. Absolutely kills. It is one of the worst drugs in the world, if not the worst drug in the world. Comfort. And weed is probably one of the most comfortable things there are. Like, you can smoke weed and do anything. You can literally be content with doing anything. I could get high right now and just sit here, do nothing, and be completely fine with it. And that is not okay. If you have big dreams, weed is holding you back much more than you know, dude. I promise you. The amount of progress that I've made, not just like physical and mental, but like business, financial, everything, in the past year and a few months of being done with smoking has been not even fucking comparable to that of which I was making before, to that of which just my whole being has transcended. I don't even recognize the person I was before. And I'm not saying it's just because of weed. I'm not saying that me quitting weed just completely changed my life. No, there's a lot of other things that went into it, but that was one of the big reasons. You know, really taking full control of my time, not letting some substance block me off from the world, block me off from my dreams, my fucking goals. Like, I just couldn't do that anymore. And that's why I've quit drinking. That's why I've quit vaping. That's why I've quit, the Zins. Like, I've quit everything. I've dropped all the vices. I don't watch porn. I don't scroll. I don't do anything, because my dreams are so big that I know if I am using any of these cheap forms of dopamine, I'm not going to achieve them. It's as simple as that. I'm just not going to. So I don't use them. I don't want to look back 20, 40 years from now and be like, fuck, imagine if every time that I went and got baked and scrolled on my phone, I was working on my business. Imagine what my life would look like. Well, let's say I'm pulling up to my construction job after dropping off my kids at school, and I'm just like, fuck. Like, what if I just tried a little bit harder? What if I just put that pin down and took control? Imagine what I could have been. And that scares the shit out of me. Those thoughts of being on your deathbed, looking back and knowing that you didn't squeeze every fucking ounce, every little bit of juice out of this life, that is the shit that keeps me up at night. That is the shit that scares me. That is what keeps me going. That regret is fucking deadly. It is absolutely deadly. This is our only life. And if you are not going to fully take control of it, if you're not going to fully get rid of anything that is holding you back from the person that you know you're meant to be, the person that you deserve to be, then you're wasting it. You're simply wasting it. I know this wasn't like, I didn't script this. I didn't come on here with really an objective. I just wanted to talk about what I was thinking, because that's what I'm going to do on here from now on. I'll post educational content too, and a little like lifestyle, day in the life type shit, but I want to get on here and just be able to rant about whatever I'm thinking about, and there'll always be some value in it, but it won't be very professional. It'll just be me getting on here and talking to y'all. But I promise y'all, I'm going to go into this topic again, because this is a big one. Thank fucking God I did not give in and I did not smoke this week, because I don't know if I would have been able to forgive myself. I really don't. And I probably would have got right back onto the addiction train, probably would have turned into a daily, hourly thing again, and it just would have been bad. It would have been really bad. So I'm glad that I stayed strong. I'm glad that I didn't give in to that voice. It really is just the only times that you quit something and then are pulled back to it are if there's just an insane lack of progress. You're just really working your ass off on something and you're not seeing the results. Or there's a huge change in your life. Or there's just something really bad that happens. Those are like the main things that cause someone to relapse. And those things are gonna happen. So each time that it does happen and you don't relapse, you make it much less likely to relapse on the next one. So I just haven't had enough of those moments yet during this, quitting journey. So I didn't know, like, oh shit, I can fiend how I was the first week of quitting again, even though I'm a year and a half almost out. I didn't know that. So it's good that I've experienced that, because now when the next one comes up, the next session of me just wanting it more than anything, I'll be able to say no. It'll be a little bit easier. So all good. We're staying strong. No fucking vices. Nothing holding us back, dude. We are becoming more. We are becoming the highest version of ourselves. That is the main goal. That is the only fucking goal, We're not having anything stop us from getting there. Nothing is holding us back, dude. So if you are on a similar journey, if you are struggling with weed right now, or you have quit, let me know. Let me know in the comments. I want to hear about it. I want to hear about how it's going, what's not going if you still haven't quit. You know, what's holding you back, why you haven't decided to just take the leap, dude, because it only takes about 3 days. 3 days of being clean, you won't go back. A week, 2 weeks, you definitely won't go back, dude. And I say that, but I'm saying if you are also on this journey, if you're also doing the shit that I'm talking about on this channel, you know, you're really pushing your mind and body to its limits, then you will not go back. If you quit smoking weed for 3 or 4 days and you're still doing all the shit that you normally do, you're probably gonna relapse, dude. You're probably gonna relapse. You've gotta really make some self-development changes if you want this to be a long-term thing. And that's why it's just best to do it all. Do it all. Get into the gym. Start tracking your macros. Start prioritizing your sleep, your recovery. Quit the vices. Just slowly. Don't do all this just one day, tomorrow. Just decide, okay, I'm going all in. Don't do that unless you have a coach. If you have a coach, that's fine. You definitely will be able to maneuver your way through it with the help of a maze master, someone who's already been through the entire maze, knows all the traps, knows how to get out of it. He'll be able to help you. He'll be able to get you where you want to be. But if you're just starting, do not try to do everything at once. Slowly eliminate the vices. Slowly start prioritizing your sleep. Get in the gym. Start tracking your macros. Start doing some learning. I promise you, the amount of time that you are going to save from putting down that pin, putting down the bong, bro, you could literally start anything today and probably be better than 99% of the population at it by the end of next year. So whatever it is that you keep putting off because of that fucking pin, because of getting high and just wasting your life, because of the comfort, go ahead and take the leap. Do it. This is your sign, dude. This is your sign. I'm gonna talk about this again a little bit more outlined, I guess. You know, have some points that I have already thought about in my head before talking about it, but I just want to be real with you guys. Like, I don't know what the fuck I just said there. I want this to be a real community. I want people to get on here. I want the comment sections to be just like people talking back and forth. Like, I want it to be just a bunch of guys becoming the best version of themselves. Bunch of guys chasing the highest possible version that they can be. Physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, everything. Just getting all that they possibly can out of life. Not leaving anything on the table, no gas in the fucking tank. So let's get this shit. As always, let's become more. I'll see you boys next time.